Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you with the most up-to-date political, economic, and geostrategic analysis on the world's number 2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Okay, happy Monday everybody. I wish you all a productive week ahead. On Sunday evening local time, at least 2 people were killed and 10 injured in an explosion near the international airport of the southern Pakistani city of Karachi. A Home Ministry official said it was an attack targeting Chinese nationals. In an official statement, the separatist militant group, the BLA Liberation Army, said that it had, quote, targeted a high-level convoy of Chinese engineers and investors, end quote, coming from Karachi's airport, adding that the explosion was an attack carried out by them using a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device targeting the Chinese nationals. The Chinese embassy said that the engineers were part of the Chinese-funded enterprise Port Qasim Power Generation Co. Limited, which aims to build 2 coal power plants at Port Qasim near Karachi. The plant is part of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is also funding a number of infrastructure and energy projects in Pakistan's Balochistan province, which has a rich supply of natural resources, including gas and minerals. This represents just the latest in a series of attacks on Chinese targets in the sensitive area, and yet another reminder to Beijing of the risks and challenges of its Belt and Road Initiative and broader security infrastructure plans in the region. The BLA, with other ethnic Balak groups, have fought a long-running insurgency for independence for the province of Balochistan, located in Pakistan's southwest and bordering on Afghanistan and Iran. In August, it launched coordinated attacks in the province, in which more than 70 people were killed. In April 2022, it killed 3 Chinese tutors and a Pakistani driver in a suicide bombing near Karachi University's Confucius Institute. BLA specifically targets Chinese interests, accusing Beijing of helping Pakistan exploit the province. The strategic port of Gwadar on the Arabian Sea is of particular concern. The BLA has killed Chinese citizens working in the region and attacked Beijing's consulate in Karachi. Then there is the Pakistani Taliban, TTP, an umbrella organization of various Islamic armed militant groups operating along the Afghan-Pakistani border. This all comes as a string of events in both Pakistan and China in recent months have strained bilateral relations. Pakistan remains in financial turmoil, with bailouts from the IMF only narrowly keeping the country afloat. Meanwhile, China, Pakistan's largest foreign investor, has begun wavering on further investment due to a deteriorating security situation that has tested the limits of a supposed all-weather friendship. On June 4th, Pakistan's Prime Minister began a 5-day state visit to China, where he met with his Chinese counterpart Li Qiang, as well as the country's paramount leader Xi Jinping. 2 weeks later, in late June, China's demands for improved security measures were emphasized in further high-level meetings held in Islamabad. On the 21st of June, China's Minister of the Central Committee of the International Department of the CCP, Liu Jianchao, stressed that, quote, security threats are the main hazards to CPEC cooperation, end quote, and without an improvement, Chinese investors would look elsewhere for opportunities, he added. But Pakistan has long been about much more than just investment opportunities for Beijing. Through CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, Islamabad seeks to leverage Chinese capital, production capacity, and know-how in order to upgrade Pakistan's infrastructure. In return, Beijing gains a connection to the Arabian Sea, providing a contingency trade route to the risk-prone Malacca Strait in Southeast Asia. Pakistan can also provide China a counterbalance to India in South Asia, so it's unlikely to pull out of the region anytime soon. But if attacks continue on Chinese citizens in the region, it may just find itself sucked in further than it would want. Next up, China's construction industry is grappling with a wave of financial difficulties as defaults and rising debts spread through the sector. Once driven by the booming real estate market, construction companies now face unpaid bills and shrinking liquidity. Xi'an Construction Engineering Group Co. Limited, a state-owned firm, became the latest casualty when it defaulted on a 263 million yuan, $37 million bond last month after months of credit downgrades. Many construction firms are now being forced to accept unsold or unfinished properties as payment, leading to a rise in bad assets on their books. Some smaller private companies have already gone bankrupt, and even larger state-owned enterprises are cutting jobs, reducing wages, and in some cases filing for bankruptcy. Xi'an Construction's bond default is the first in the open market, and industry experts warn that more could follow. The entire sector is slowing, with profits dropping and competition intensifying. In the first half of 2024 alone, 4 major firms declared bankruptcy or went into liquidation. Xi'an Construction, founded as a state-owned company in 2009 and restructured in 2017 to include private investors, experienced rapid growth between 2018 and 2021. However, trouble began in May 2023 when the company delayed repayment of commercial notes, which was followed by several missed payments from its subsidiaries. By August 2024, after a series of credit downgrades, the company defaulted on a major bond. The company's biggest shareholder, Greenland Holdings Corp Limited, has been a significant drag on Xi'an's construction. Greenland, a state-backed developer, struggled with liquidity as early as 2022 due to declining property sales and tightening financing. This financial pressure caused Xi'an Construction's revenue to drop by 67% in 2023 compared to 2021. The construction industry's interconnected nature has led to a so-called triangle of debt, where developers default on payments to contractors, who then default on their suppliers. Local governments, also facing financial strain, have added to this backlog of unpaid bills for infrastructure projects. Several large firms have reported significant growth in unpaid receivables, exacerbating the financial crisis within the sector. Chinese financial media outlet Caixin writes that construction projects in China generally operate on one of 3 payment methods: monthly settlement, progress-based payments, or contractors fronting the cost for developers. During the property boom, it writes, contractors often rushed to offer funds for developers in advance to secured contracts. But now, delayed payments by developers have become common, an executive at a state-owned construction firm told the outlet. The real estate downturn has also had a ripple effect on related sectors, including raw materials such as steel and cement. In 2022, steel enterprises reported a 72% drop in profits. Their profits further dropped by 48% in the first quarter of 2024. Next up, and finally for today, Chinese authorities are increasingly requiring school teachers and other public employees to surrender their passports as part of Beijing's efforts to tighten control over society. This initiative, referred to as the Personal Travel Abroad Management, allows local officials to regulate who can travel overseas and under what circumstances. UK-based The Financial Times, in a special commentary published today, explains that this policy expansion comes alongside Xi Jinping's increased efforts to combat corruption and foreign espionage. According to interviews with public employees and local notices with the outlet, the passport handover has broadened this year to include teachers, lower-level government staff, and employees of state-run organizations. A primary school teacher from Sichuan mentioned that all public sector workers were told to turn in their passports and said that future travel abroad would likely require approval from local educational authorities, which might not be granted. Teachers from other regions, including Hubei, Anhui, Guangdong, Jiangsu, and Henan, reported similar instructions. Some teachers expressed frustration to the outlet, with one from Henan sharing their disappointment about no longer being able to pursue a dream of visiting an English-speaking country. The restrictions appear to stem from national regulations dating back to 2003, which gave local authorities the ability to control foreign travel for state employees, especially those deemed crucial to state functions. In Wenzhou, authorities are reportedly concerned about the foreign influences educators might encounter while abroad. Teachers there are prohibited from engaging with banned groups like the Falun Gong. Local regulators in Wenzhou limit educators to 1 foreign trip per year under strict conditions, and those who violate the rules face disciplinary measures or travel bans. State-owned enterprise employees and retirees are also affected. One former state worker reported having to surrender his passport despite having retired more than a decade ago. Many face challenges in receiving their documents, even after leaving their jobs or following de-secrecy processes. Anecdotally, I had a brief fling with a surgeon and officer in the People's Liberation Army when I lived in Beijing years ago. She told me that none of her colleagues were ever permitted to leave the country, even those who had been retired for many years. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit the like button. Liking, sharing, and subscribing are tremendous helps for the channel. Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are also in the description for those who want to help keep the channel financially sustainable. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Have a good Monday, have a productive week, and I will see you all tomorrow.